So, okay, so the challenges. Our organization has 900 employees, and they're across the United States and Puerto Rico. So there are about 700 here in the Twin Cities, either in our coordinating center downtown or in home offices. So one of the challenges was really how do we reach everybody at the different offices. We also have staff up in New Brighton at our biorepository. So everybody's doing different roles. We have the biorepository where they're processing swabs to get people on our donor registry. We've got staff who are in a more call center type job where they're reaching out to donors and talking with patients and things like that. And then we've got, the standard departments where it's marketing and finance and IT and things like that. So we had really some different challenges to how do we reach everybody in those different spots. We also had no on-site weigh-in option, so I remember hearing the giant scale story when I was here last year, and we loved that, but there was just no way that we were going to be able to do that. And then also, how do you keep your remote staff involved? That's really something that's big at Be The Match. We're really trying to grow, keeping our remote staff engaged in the organization when they're not face-to-face. They don't have that regular interaction with their fellow coworkers, and really how does that impact their experience in our organization. And then breaking down silos. So I work in donor services. It's a huge department at Be The Match, but we're also really good at just talking to each other. So how do we get people to interact with each other? How do we kind of force people to engage in conversations? I mean, we're Minnesotans too, so it's really good at smiling, but not really engaging with each other. So these were the challenges that we had for this, and it was interesting. So also to point out, because we have staff in California and Puerto Rico, Frosty didn't necessarily fit with their winter experience. So we ended up changing it, and we called it Fit to Winter. So it was a little punny, but this logo actually was created. It's a free website. It's called canva.com, and it's CANVA. And basically what it is it walks you through designing new things. So I am not a designer. I'm never going to pretend to be. But I didn't create this one. One of our fellow wellness committee members did. And it basically just helps you figure out how to create something like this. So it was free and easy. And then we also wanted to give people the option to not necessarily just track their weight. So we added activity to it. And the way that we set it up was more of a stoplight system. So you weren't going to tell us your weight at the beginning. We asked you to set your own benchmark. So look at what you're doing now, whether it's looking at your weight or, what are you doing active-wise? Is it you're working out every day, you're making sure you get extra steps, and then setting your own benchmarks to be a little bit more accountable. And I love Shelley's presentation where she was saying how you had people feel that they were more accountable by having those weigh-ins, and you included it in your survey, so I'm totally going to steal that for this year because I'd love to know what people think about that. So just some examples of how we customize the materials. So if you look at the one on that side, that was our, we use it for our digital signage. We had it on our bulletin boards that are in right next to all of our stairwells. And then we did do table tents, things like that. And it was really easy to just drop our logo, our new logo, into the Word documents that were shared. So I definitely recommend you guys use the Basecamp materials that are provided. And they're pretty easy to change. So then the one in the middle, we provided signage. So our way of dealing with trying to get people to work with new staff was when they did their registration, which we did online, it was a sign-up genius. I think you could also use SurveyMonkey very easily, or Google Docs, Google Forms. We asked them to provide their name, their department, their location, and then what month they were born in. So we divided it up. We had 11 teams because November and June didn't have enough people to do a full team, and it ended up working out really well. So we sent people a little PDF that they could print off. We asked them to put it in their cube so that if you're walking around, you could see somebody else had that little sign up. It was a good way to do a conversation starter. And then our participant instruction. So we really spelled out, what it involved, how they would send their responses, what they needed to track on their own. And then the weekly emails from Hennepin County had some great content in them. And then we added an additional piece where we directed them to our intranet website. So we would have extra links for things. So the Eat Less Sugar Week, we had how to make traditional recipes using applesauce or less white sugar, agave syrups, things like that. And it didn't really involve us having to do a ton of our own research. We just found sites that had information that we found interesting, and then we provided them for people. So they were able to do a little bit of that extra work on their own if they wanted to dive a little bit deeper. And then we did weekly emails where we asked them to send us their color. So did you maintain your weight or your activity level? Send us a yellow. Did you maybe gain a little bit of weight, or you were a little less active? Send us a red. And that's how we tracked how you were participating. It wasn't anything super involved again. I mean, because it is around the holidays, and that's always a busy time, we just wanted to make sure we were really conscientious about how much work people had to do on their own. Okay, so here's an example of how people could track their own. So they were welcome to get as involved as they wanted. They could just write it down, they could fill it in. It was all provided electronically too, so they could have it up on their desktop and fill it in every day. They could do it at the end of the week, kind of whatever they wanted. And then the one in the middle, we really encouraged people to take photos. We love to do photo sharing. And then this was just a snippet I pulled from our intranet site. So Sarah on the end there, she was one of our team captains and admittedly also a wellness committee member. So she took a little selfie when she was doing some swimming. You can see Marie, we were right by Target Field, so we encouraged people to do walking in the neighborhood by providing them with maps. So we would say, here's a 1 mile map, here's a 2 mile map. If you want to do a 5K on your lunch break, which I'm not one of those people, but there were people that did it, that was an easy way to sort of get them involved. And then some teams did potluck, so try to bring in healthy food to share with each other for lunch. And then we also have an on-site restaurant, and we partner with them to really call out what the healthy options are. And so I know for this year we want to do a little bit more. There was a recipe sharing option that we learned about with the program last year, and we're hoping to implement that this year because a lot of people would say, I really want to find more good recipes that people have actually done, and they can speak to it. So that was fun. And then one of our teams, we have whiteboards all over our offices. So she kind of commandeered one, and then every week would put a new question out that was sort of related to what the topic was. And then we also incentivized our weekly participation. So we are a nonprofit, but we do have a lot of branded gear. So if you participated every week, we would put your name into a drawing. All you had to do to track that was just send us your color. And then it would be, a workout bag or a workout shirt. We had socks, we had gloves, just little be the match themed things. So, we didn't have a huge budget for it, but it just was a good way because, like Shelley said, people really get into free giveaways. So I'm hoping we can figure out a way to steal some of those cute ideas too for ours. But also when we have remote staff, that was a thing too, where we can't necessarily just do things in the office because you really want to be conscientious about not leaving people out. So in this way, anybody could win. We'd ship your little socks to you, and nothing was super heavy or expensive to send. So that worked out really well. And then our successes. So we had 133 participants, which I know we have 900 employees, but this was actually kind of a record for us. It's hard to get people, especially around the holidays too, to join in on stuff like that. So we were really excited about that. 55% were successful in maintaining their weight or maintaining their activity level over that 8-week period. And then 45% were successful in losing weight or increasing their activity level. So that was really good. You know, we really focused on not telling people you have to lose weight, you have to, you know, that's where the challenge is. It was really just hang in there. Which, you know, I don't know about you guys, but around the holidays, sometimes I just need to hear that. So then just some feedback that we got from staff. I managed to lose weight consistently this time, and I added nighttime yoga and a new gym routine as well, which was really great to hear. I enjoyed the weekly challenges and a chance to meet other people in the organization and discuss health and wellness. And then I just included some photos. Up in the top corner there, that is our biorepository staff doing a lunchtime walk around their office. So that was fun. Lauren there with the dog actually lives in Colorado. So she's in a home office. This was a good way for her to sort of feel connected to the organization without necessarily being on site, which was great. Yeah, so that's all I've got. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want any of the materials, I think we did have them on Basecamp, but I'm happy to provide any additional copies of things that we had. Yeah.
Questions?
Me again.
Yeah.
How did you?
This is Terry.
All right. How did you track that? How did you have them send back that red, yellow, green?
So every Monday we would have our team captains reach out to their teams and say, send me your color by the end of the day. If you didn't send it in, not a big deal. You weren't kicked off the team or anything. It just, you didn't get entered in to win that weekly prize. And then our wellness coordinator, Angie, who works in HR, she would tally everything up and just keep track of it on a spreadsheet. I'm thinking this year, though, that implementing some sort of automated thing like SurveyMonkey or using Google Forms is probably an easier way to do it. Then they can just plug in their color, their name. We don't have to worry about, you know, channeling it through so many different people.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I like the coloring, Laura. Can you compare?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to talk loud. But my question is with the results,
Mhm.
the next slide. When you look at the green and the yellow, are you just looking at the very start of the challenge and comparing it to the end, or how are you getting that?
Yeah. So we asked them to set their baselines, and it was all self-reported. So
Okay, great.
they could be lying, but I think most people, because we incentivize just the participation piece of it, we're hoping that they were being honest about it.
No, and that's what we run into too, because a lot of the feedback we got was people don't like to fill out those tracking sheets every week, and we had little incentives that fit along with the themes, and anybody who did send it in would get a little prize.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But it was hard, so this makes it easy for them to just say
Right.
a color.
Yeah, and the whole weight thing too, people really are skittish about sharing that. So this sort of just eliminated even telling us how much you gained or how much you lost, just making it easy.
Okay, I like it. Thank you.
Other questions? Now's your chance.